We were talking about this on the Breakfast Club this morning. It literally came up, and I thought, wow, this is something that we just need to talk about. We need to talk more about this, and it's the thought of motivation versus discipline. And so uh, I thought, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to jump on the mic. I want to share some things. We've got these 8-week boot camps that literally are transforming people's lives. But what you'll watch, and not but you've just got to watch. Motivation comes in waves. I was talking to Ryan. He's out of Hawaii and new to the business, less than a year in the business, closing probably one or two loans a month before he got in the boot camp. And literally, he just told me, he said he just put his eighth loan in the pipeline to close this next month. And we've only been together a few, I don't know, 6, 7 weeks. And I was just so inspired, not only by the conversation, but the results. And, part of what each week in the boot camp I'll do is I start with a thought. I start with something I'm meditating on. And this is mine for the week because you'll find the ebbs and flows, and you'll be in the holidays or you'll be in the summer months and your kids are home. Like the ebb and flow of motivation, it comes and it goes. Carl and I did a podcast a few months, I don't know, probably 6, 7 months ago. And we talked about motivation, how that motivation is really something that comes, if I were to give a timeline to it, it's 3 to 5 days. Like you go to a great motivational speech, a workshop, you get inspired. I know we got a boot camp coming up, like a physical boot camp in Clearwater, Florida. And you go to a 2-day physical boot camp and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so inspired. I heard these great success stories, all this stuff. And the motivation's there, but it wanes about 3 to 5 days afterwards. Um, you get involved in my virtual 8-week boot camp, and it's like, man, I'm motivated. I'm going to do it different. And I'm believing for financial freedom. I've got some great goals, and you're motivated. But motivation at some point, it inspires you to take action. However, it's got a timeline, it's got a life cycle to it. And motivation alone is not enough. If we don't take the motivation and put discipline with it rather quickly, you'll fizzle out. Think about this. Motivation's a lot like the spark. It's the thing it's an internal and external drive that inspires you to take action. It's what gets you excited or eager to start something new. And it's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to finally make these calls. I'm going to lean into call stars and having the discipline of having 2 hours of outbound calls and calling activity so that I'm making more offers and I'm getting more opportunities and we're getting more business. But I'm going to lean in and I'm excited. And here's the thing, a characteristic, it's fueled by emotions. It's goal oriented, with external incentives. It's typically, what is motivation? It's short term. It can be fleeting, vary from one day to today, or from one moment to another moment. It's like yesterday, I was super motivated, and today, I can barely get out of bed. And it's inspiration based. It totally comes from a desire to achieve something. Or in some cases, motivation can actually come from a place of trying to avoid maybe the pain of financial struggle, maybe the pain of my business going up and down, the pain of disappointment, the pain of having to choose what you're going to do because there's not enough revenue coming in. So motivation, it can be something that you're moving towards or trying to avoid a negative outcome. Some of the examples, like we already said, I went to this great motivational speech or workshop. I heard a great podcast. I was on the Breakfast Club. I was motivated. And here's the key. If motivation is the spark, discipline is the sustained effort. Like motivation is the spark, then discipline is the wood, in my opinion, that's on the fire that's going to keep it going. And you've got to keep fueling the flame. You got to keep adding logs. You got to keep, it's not enough to have a spark. I got to have a spark that has sustained burning characteristics that will go even when I don't feel like it. And the reason why I think it's so important, man, as I'm talking to so many of you, it's this up and down, and I'm motivated, I'm not, I'm winning, I'm not. How do I keep it going? And here's what I would encourage you with is that it's the practice of consistently doing what needs to be done. So what is discipline? It's I'm going to do consistently what needs to be done so that I get the desired result that I'm looking for. So discipline is a practice of consistently doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. It's the commitment to stick to your goal. It's the commitment to stick to the plan over the long term, not the short term. So what are the characteristics of discipline? Number one, it's routine driven. So what's your routine look like? We talk about it all the time. Here's the way I like to say it. Do you have a livable calendar? Do you know what you're going to do when you wake up tomorrow? When you wake up in the morning, do you say, I wonder what I'm going to do? Or do you wake up and your calendar or your routine tells you, guess what? 7:30, I got breakfast club. At 8 o'clock, I start my first team meeting. At 9 o'clock, I start my outbound selling activity. At 11 o'clock, I break for a quick lunch. At 12 o'clock, I'm running my social and I'm running some appointments. At 2 o'clock, I'm running my loan consultations. At 4 o'clock, I'm wrapping up the day. At 5, I call it a day and I'm home. When you have a routine driven day helps me lean into the discipline. Whether I feel like it or not doesn't matter, because my routine, my calendar dictates that I'm doing what I was motivated to do. And that's what I love. Discipline with a routine keeps me focused on what I'm originally motivated to do. I'm motivated to get to 8 units a month, 16 units a month, 20 units a month, because of the financial freedom it affords me and my family, because those closings do this and this and this, and I get money freedom and time freedom and friend and relationship freedom, and I get purpose freedom. Why? Because what I was motivated to do is now held up by the routine driven discipline that keeps me moving in the direction of what my goals and dreams are. What is a characteristic of discipline? It's long-term, it's steady, it's unwavering. It's providing a foundation for sustained effort. You know, what I love about it, anytime I've ever tried to do anything that was really hard in the beginning, put a timeline to it. Listen, for the next 90 days, I will do call stars, even if it kills me. The good news is it won't kill you. But leaning into in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, when you have a routine that has a longer term that you're committed to, and you will show up because you've got the accountability. It's action based, it's focused on taking regular, purposeful actions towards your goal. Man, the reason it's so important that not only motivation, the spark, but now I need that fire and the wood to be on, or the wood to be on fire, because it's routine driven, it's long term, it's action based. You know, example, man, waking up every day early to follow your morning routine, even when you don't feel like it, consistently making the prospecting calls because it's a part of my daily plan. And listen, motivation, you can't say motivation, throw it out the window, discipline, throw it out the window. It's both and. They're both important, because motivation is great for getting started and generating the initial excitement and momentum. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades. And listen, it's not your fault. It is life. Life has a way of these motivating times to go high and low, high and low, high and low. And what we want to do is normalize the emotion of what we do by simply having a disciplined routine that says, okay, I'm going to do what I need to do because it's already built into my calendar. It's built in my routine. And whether I feel like it Monday through Friday, this is what I do, because it's just what I do. And so both are important, because motivation's great for getting started and discipline's what it takes when motivation fades. It's the backbone of long-term success. So here's what I want to just encourage you. Tips for cultivating both. You want to boost motivation, set clear, compelling goals. You want to boost motivation, surround yourself with positive people that speak into your life, that are going in the same direction, that speak the same language. We say it around here: one people, one language, one purpose. Nothing is impossible. You want to boost motivation, celebrate the small wins to keep the excitement alive. And here's the other thing: you want to build discipline, create and stick to a daily routine. You want to build discipline, hold yourself accountable with tracking and regular check ins. You want to build discipline, stay focused on progress, not perfection, and keep pushing forward even through the tough days. So, my encouragement is you need both. It's not one without the other, but motivation without discipline is simply a rah rah cheer. A discipline without the motivation to get started. I think you got to have both. It's hard to jump into a discipline if I'm not motivated to start something new. So I want to encourage you, start something new. Do what you need to do, be consistent, let your calendar dictate what your day looks like, and whatever you do, don't quit. Hey, and if you want to learn more about the boot camp, we spend a whole portion of it talking about the accountability and leaning in, and we really see the transformation between weeks 4, 5, and 6, where businesses just like Ryan, who went from a few a month to 8 in the pipeline this month, closing here in the next 30 days within his 8-week boot camp. I just believe it's because we've taken the motivation to get started and the discipline and the accountability to keep doing the right activity, even when it hurts. And if you'll do that, you'll see big success. You want to learn more about the boot camp, go to loanofficersuccess.com, fill out a couple of pieces of information. Myself or Krista will literally jump on a call, make sure it's a good fit for you. I'd love to talk to you more about the 8-week virtual boot camp with Steve Kyles, loanofficersuccess.com. Hey, remember this: anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.